Okay, we are on the other side of page 41 now, and we are talking about solving inequalities. In the previous unit, or in the previous part of the unit, we solved equations. So as a quick refresher, let's say that I had 30 equals j plus 15. Now I would solve that by subtracting 15 from both sides, and I would end up with 15 over here equals j all by itself. So 15 is the same as j is equal to 15. This is the only possible solution that would work because it is an equation. There's an equal sign. So you're going to take this knowledge and it's going to help you understand this, but this is not the same thing we're doing right now, because this is an equation and we are solving inequalities. So an inequality, we know, means it has a sign that something is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. All right, so let's imagine, I think there's 45 teachers at this school. I'm just guessing, but let's say. Okay, and we're going to do a random act of kindness. We're going to bring in a treat for 45 teachers. Now, we can always have more treats because we could give them to the custodians and the secretaries. So I'm going to say we need at least 45 treats, or it could be equal to 45. And you are going to bring in 15 treats, and I am going to bring in however many I'm going to bring in. So we'll do an F for funk. I was going to do a T, but it looks like a plus sign. Okay? So what we're saying right now is that by the time we combine your treats and my treats, it needs to be a number equal to or greater than 45, because I need to have enough for every one of the teachers. And I can have extra, but I have to have at least 45. I'm going to solve this pretty much the same way I would solve an equation. I'm just going to make sure that I don't forget that this symbol right here needs to stay the same throughout the whole thing. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides, because I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to take yours out of it. You're bringing 15 that I don't have to worry about. 45 minus 15 is 30. I keep my sign. Now this canceled out, so I just have F. So what this tells me is F, Miss Funk, needs to bring in at least 30 treats. 30 needs to be less than or equal to the number of treats I bring in. Or I could, if I flip the numbers, I can also flip the sign. Miss Funk needs to bring in a number of treats that is greater than or equal to 30. And then we could graph that. We could put 30 on a number line. There's a line, so it's going to be a closed-in circle. And the number of treats I could bring is anything higher than 30. I could bring in 100 treats if I want. I could bring in exactly 30 treats, but I can't bring in any less than that. Okay? It works the same way, whether we are adding, subtracting, dividing, whether it was greater than, less than, whatever. So if we had the problem 3m is less than 4, it's not going to work out evenly, but that's okay. Inverse of multiplication is division. This cancels out, so I'm left with m on this side. I keep the sign. M is less than, and 4/3 is, I could write it like that, or I could say m is less than 1 1/3, because that's what it would be as a mixed number. Then I could graph that just the same, open circle on m, and in this case, it would be anything less than 1 1/3. If I had q minus 4 is greater than or equal to 70. Inverse of minus 4 is to add 4 to both sides. So Q is greater than or equal to 74. Put a closed circle on 74 and show that Q is anything greater than 74. So the arrow would be going that way. So solving inequalities, you basically do what you did with equations. You just can't forget that the sign has to stay, whatever it is at the beginning, it's got to be at the end. I'm going to take a second and just highlight how the sign always stays the same. Okie dokie.